Hi, welcome to my channel. Today's video a little bit different and the reason I'm making this video is because I spoke to two new clients last week who are struggling with the whole concept of law of attraction, law of assumption, finding it a bit woo-woo, but know that there's something going on here and do believe that we manifest. You will know if you've been here before that I have put up videos in the past about quantum and that I believe that that's what's going on here. I believe it makes sense of manifestation. So I just want to break it down now for you to kind of understand where I'm coming from when I often refer to, oh, I think it's quantum, I believe it's quantum. I say that in a lot of my videos, and I have made videos about the observer effect in quantum and that kind of thing. I will talk about that briefly here too, but what I just want to give you is the main points. Quantum entanglement is a phenomenon in physics that states there is an invisible link between distant quantum objects that allows one to instantly affect the other. So we are affecting each other all of the time. So it makes sense that we can affect someone or something else with our frequency. We direct our attention towards whatever it is we want to change the condition of, and we choose the frequency of that condition inside of us. Quantum entanglement, the phenomena in which entangled systems exhibit correlations that cannot be explained by classical physics. Manifesting people. It has been suggested that a similar process occurs between people and explains anomalous phenomena such as healing. Okay, so you talk about going to a faith healer, for example. My dad went to a faith healer. He had a horrendously bad back for years, and sometimes the ambulance would have to be called because he was in so much pain. He'd be on his hands and knees and he wouldn't know what to do with himself. That's how bad it was. And I just remembered it was a thing with my dad. He had this bad back and sometimes it would go into spasm and it would just cause huge problems for him. My uncle told him about this woman who's a faith healer, and he had been to her, and I can't remember what he had, that he said she cured it. I'm just rid of it completely. And so my dad was very open-minded. He didn't believe in anything in particular. He definitely wasn't religious, so he didn't believe in God. Wasn't religious at all, wasn't spiritual, but was open-minded. Oh, I'll give it a go. Like, I'm desperate, I'll give anything a go. So off he went. He literally had 2 sessions with her and he goes, oh, I'm cured. He was just completely convinced he was cured, and so he was. And he never ever had a bad back again, ever. For all the years he lived after that, he never suffered with a bad back. Now, what would I say is going on there with faith healing? Now, I believe that the person in question that's doing the healing, I'm not saying this about every faith healer, this particular lady didn't charge any money. She was amazing. She didn't charge any money for what she did. She would just speak to somebody, and if she felt that she could help them, then she would. So she was believing that she could help, that she could cure his bad back. So she didn't put her hands on him or anything like that. She just stood behind him. He said he could feel a heat on his back just from her hands being close to his back, but they weren't touching his back. Now, her belief that she could cure his back, so she is sending a frequency of healing to him, and he is accepting of that. So one quantum object affected another quantum object. So one person affected another one. This is why when we affect other people so easily is because there's no resistance, because they don't know that we're doing it. We're thinking of someone, we are connecting to them in a way, and they are then behaving according to that frequency that we have, that we are directing towards them. They were behaving in a certain way. They don't feel they're being coerced or anything like that. They don't know any different, because this seems to be the way the universe works. There is no resistance. They don't know it's happening. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, because that is what the universe is, as far as I can see, and that is how we interact with each other and how everything flows through this quantum entanglement. Again, I don't know enough about it to go into too much detail here, but it makes total sense of manifestation to me when I put it into words like this. Another explanation here I'm going to put up. Our own awareness of self and the impact we have on our surroundings plays a key role in quantum measurement, and that it's our experience of the universe that converts it from merely imagined to being a real experience. So we're talking about imagining something and then it becoming a real experience, because we have affected time and space. We are a quantum object. So when we observe things, for example, let's say you've been trying to manifest something and nothing is happening. What you are doing is it's quantum observation. So you are observing it, you're observing the situation, you are keep expecting really to see the same old. There is something online, and I did speak about this in another video, by a physicist basically, and he's explaining the theory of the observation theory, quantum observation. Let me just make this clear. If you are observing somebody and they know you're observing them, they might behave differently than they would if you weren't observing them. This is something completely different. This is quantum observation. So you are observing a situation and it just keeps being the same. So the video in question was somebody firing an arrow, and that they're being observed firing an arrow. Now the intention is from the person observing that the arrow will hit the bullseye. So there is a bullseye a few meters away. But every time the person fires the arrow, it just drops down, and it keeps dropping down, and it keeps dropping down, and it keeps dropping down whilst it's being observed. So what's happening is you cannot change the condition of something whilst you keep observing it. You can't do it if this is quantum. So then the person observing goes, oh, right, okay, I give up. You know, this is never going to happen. He's never going to hit that bullseye. Off he walks, gets on with his day. As soon as he turns his back and walks away, the guy fires the arrow straight forward and hits the bullseye. So it's no longer being observed. So it's been given a chance to behave differently because it's not being measured in that moment. The guy's walked away. So this is where letting go comes in with the law of attraction, with manifesting. Letting go is not observing anymore. So it can be throwing your hands up in the air in despair. It can be deciding to just leave it alone, let it go, and feeling good about that and feeling like you've properly released on it. It can be just accepting of the situation as it is and not feeling that huge observation of what is and feeling the lack of it. Any of that is looking away. So in quantum, you then give that condition a chance to change and behave a completely different way, but because it's no longer being observed. I mean, that is pretty much all I can explain on the subject, because like I said, I'm not an expert, and I have read a lot and I've watched a lot and I'm fascinated with it, and I will continue to read and watch things on the subject, but I don't think my basic understanding of it will ever be much greater than this. But I don't need it to be. I just like reading about it and watching it, and it makes total sense. Now again, let's go to manifestation here. Manifestation is just what we've called this phenomena. So if you're feeling like, I don't like the woo-woo-ness of it, I don't like this kind of mystical, magical part of it, then just look at it like that. Manifestation is just the word we use for it because it kind of is a sensible word to use for what's going on here. It is a manifestation. Something appears, that's a manifestation, isn't it? So that's the word we use, but really, to my mind, it is science. And I can't explain why. I can't explain why quantum exists, why things are the way that they are, but to me, it makes sense of this. I can work with that. It just works with the way my brain works, the way I feel about things. It makes total sense to me, I have to say. It does make total sense. I used to call this stuff irrational. I used to say, oh, don't try to make sense of the irrational because you can't. But now I see it as rational because I feel that this is what's going on. So it seems totally rational to me. Coincidence seems irrational, completely irrational. But this doesn't. It does seem rational that you can conjure up a feeling inside, and then that becomes your frequency on the subject, and then that's what you see in your 3D reality. I suppose that's where you would say the attraction point is when you've got the frequency, and that's when you attract that thing to you. But I don't ever see myself, I never see it like I'm attracting something to me. I just feel like I need to be the frequency of this thing, on a frequency of it. So I can be feeling good about something, excited about something, optimistic about something, curious about something, and then I'm on the same or similar frequency. So I'm likely to start experiencing that desire that I want to see in my reality. But if my frequency is predominantly of the lack of it, or where is it, I can't see it, that's my signal. So that is my frequency. So that is what I'm going to get back. And I understand that on a fundamentally on a fundamental level, I do get it, but that's as much as I get about it. And when you start really reading into quantum, some of it just goes completely over my head, and I fully admit that it just does. And I try to work out what they're trying to say, and I think, I don't get it. No, that's just above me. That's above my pay grade. So I don't get it on that level. But I do get the basics of it, the fundamentals of it. So I really hope that this was useful. I don't know how I'm going to do this in the edit. Hopefully I've put up a lot of text for you so that you can go back to it, and actually seeing it in black and white is sometimes easier, isn't it, than hearing somebody explain it. So I hope that I've explained adequately. If I haven't, then do ask questions, but I can only give you back what I know. So I would really suggest that if this has kind of piqued your interest, look it up and kind of look at some channels where there's actual physicists talking about it and people that are much cleverer than I am. That's what I would suggest to do. But for me, that's what's going on here. That is what makes sense, total sense of manifestation is quantum. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd say if you've come and you found this video, then whether you want to subscribe to this channel or not, I don't know, because there's not loads about this on here, although I do mention quantum a lot. There's a lot of discussional stuff. What is manifestation? It's all internal. It's all about what's going on inside of us, showing up on the outside. There's loads of that sort of thing. But yeah, anyways, I just hope that you got something from this video or enjoyed this video.